Welcome to Screamplay. In this episode, we ask the question, does Screenplay's 24 C's of three-act plotting apply to short stories? It would be easy to revert to situational storytelling when conceiving a short story, but the compact length is no excuse for not fully exploring a narrative and delivering a satisfying tale. Often, some story beats are condensed into a single scene. Nevertheless, they are there, all 24 of them. Stephen King has been called a master of the short story form, and in the next two case studies, we'll see why. CREEPSHOW, 1982, the fourth segment, The Crate, written by Stephen King based on his short story, directed by George A. Romero. Runtime of the segment, 38 minutes. Act 1, The Want. 1. Capacity for evil. A quarter rolls away from a university janitor into a storage cage under a set of stairs. Under there, he discovers an old wooden crate chained shut. The painted letters on the box read, 1834, Arctic Expedition. This scene is not a display of evil, but that is coming soon because of this discovery. 2. Characters want. English professor Harry and his wife, Wilma, are at a party. Wilma, drunk and obnoxious, berates and embarrasses Harry and his friend and fellow professor, Dexter, in front of everyone. Harry offers no rebuttal to his wife's criticism. Clearly, he is not happy with her and would love to be separated from her. 3. Competency. Being an English professor suggests Harry is a good wordsmith and storyteller, which proves to be the case later on. 4. Central theme. After giving up his plans to meet a female student that night to go play chess with Harry, Dexter says, "What are friends for?" In this story, we will find out how far one will go for a friend. 5. Core fear. Harry really wants to get rid of his wife, for good. He fantasizes about shooting her dead at the party, and he dreams of strangling her later at home. 1. Capacity for evil continued. Dexter is called away from the party by the janitor, who wants him to check out this crate he has found. At the university, the two men bring out the mysterious crate to a nearby laboratory, curious to know what's inside. The janitor hears something in the box like an animal. The professor assures him that nothing could have survived this long. The janitor pops the wooden box open with a crowbar. Then a large, furry-clawed creature reaches out and tears into him and kills him. Dexter retreats out into the corridor. 6. Chills and thrills. Structurally earlier than usual, but not uncommon for this beat to occur before the end of the first act in a King story. Here, Dexter runs into a bespectacled colleague named Charlie. He tells him what just happened, but Charlie doesn't believe him. Dexter leads him to the scene of the murder, but they find nothing other than the janitor's blood splattered across the classroom desk and floor. Charlie accuses Dexter of the crime. Dexter assures him he didn't do it, and leads him to the storage cage where the crate was originally found. And, sure enough, it has been returned there now. Charlie moves in close to examine the box and the damage done to it, and finds the janitor's torn and bloodied boot. Suddenly, the gorilla-like beast pops out and grabs him and takes a large bite out of his head. A spectacularly gruesome kill where we fully see the monster for the first time. 7. Call to adventure. Frantic, Dexter runs to Harry's place, who is home alone, and asks for his help. Harry offers him a glass of whiskey to calm him down. Then Dexter tells him everything that happened, all the while holding a piece of evidence in his hand, the bloody boot. Harry tells him he will take care of it. After Dexter thanks him, he says, "What are friends for?" 8. Contesting the call. A little later, Harry secretly slips a drug into a drink and offers it to his friend, but he turns it down, saying he has had too much to drink already. Harry insists on one more, and he takes it. 9. Crossing into darkness. The sedative has taken effect, and Dexter is now asleep in his chair. Harry starts writing a letter. His secret plan is in action. Remember, when plans are disclosed in fiction, they usually fail. Act 2, Confrontation and Crisis. 10. Contrasting old and new. Later that night at the university, Harry arrives and sees the bloody mess in the corridor and in the lab, and he examines the crate closely and quietly, reading the labeling. Again, a different ordering of the beats than usual. 11. Complications of the B-plot. Wilma arrives home and calls out to her husband and becomes annoyed when there is no answer. 12. Confrontation. She then finds the letter he wrote. In a voiceover, we hear him explain that he got called away to the university by Dexter, who got himself into some trouble with a young female student. He goes on to say that the girl is scared and asks her to come to the university hall to help him deal with this student. A fabrication to lure his wife to the hall. This is where his competent writing skills come into play. Intercut with her reading this and driving over, we watch him cleaning up the bloody mess with a mop. He is confronting the horror of the monster's rampage as well as that of his wife with a set trap. While making sure the place is spotless, he checks his watch, knowing she will be here any minute now. Plots A and B cross here. Just inside the storage cage, he finds Charlie's broken glasses, a special gift. 13. Cogitating on past and future. Upon hearing her enter the university building, he pauses before taking off the janitor's rubber gloves and apron. Is he having second thoughts about his plan? 14. Chasing the leads. He calls out to Wilma and tells her to come down to the laboratory. What the hell is going on? She wants to know. So do we. But by now, we have a good idea on what he plans to do. He tells her that Dexter went too far this time, and that the girl he met with got hurt. He convinces her by showing her the broken glasses. When she asks where is the girl now, he tells her that she crawled under the stairs and leads her over to the storage cage, but she is hesitant to get closer to it. 15. Casualty. He forces her over to the cage, insisting that she look inside for the girl. He can't help but begin laughing, like he is losing his mind. She doesn't find this funny and calls him a child. Finally, he snaps and shoves her into the cage with the crate and yells at her, trying to wake up the beast inside. 16. Crisis. Nothing happens. Not a stir from inside the crate. Wilma is extremely mad at him and yells back at him. 17. Contemplation. He is left dumbfounded as his wife begins insulting everything about him, from his intelligence to his manhood. Act 3. The Need. 18. Castle attack. Then suddenly the monster springs from the crate and grabs Wilma. She screams. 19. Catastrophe. The monster frightens Harry, who is seeing it for the first time. 20. Crunch time. The monster chomps into Wilma. 21. Climactic twist. He doesn't try to save his wife. Of course not. This was his plan all along. Tell him to call you Billy, he says finally, and moves away from the gruesome scene. 22. Conquering evil. After the monster is done with her, he carefully manages to get a padlock back on the chains around the box and locks the thing up again. That night, he wheels the crate out of the university. He drives it to a rock cliff and dumps the crate into a lake. While in a voiceover, he explains to Dexter, who is now awake, their alibis for the events that occurred on this night. The A-plot is resolved, and Harry's fear to courage arc is completed. 23. Conclusion. The next morning at Harry's home, he continues to explain the whole situation as it now stands. No bodies, no evidence, no foul play, and they get their story straight. After all, what are friends for, says Dexter. This resolves the B-plot. Then he wonders aloud, but Harry, what if the thing gets out? Harry assures him there is no worry of that. 24. Coda. Deep in the lake, through the dark water, the beast's demonic green eyes can be seen looking out from the crate. Then the box breaks open. Cat's Eye, 1985, the first segment, Quitters, Inc., written by Stephen King based on his short story, directed by Louis Teague. Runtime of the segment, 32 minutes. Act 1, The Want. 1. Characters want. Our lead, Dick Morrison, is dropped off at an addiction clinic called Quitters, Inc. by a friend who has had success with it for quitting smoking, which is what Dick wants to do. 2. Core fear. Anxious, Dick asks his friend to come in with him, but his friend says it's against the rules. Dick is afraid he won't be able to go through with this. 3. Call to adventure. Inside the reception area of Quitters, Inc., Dick fills out a client application form. 1. Characters want continued. Absent-mindedly, Dick places a cigarette in his mouth, then realizes what he has done and takes it out again. 4. Central theme. As he does so, he glances around the place and sees several old smoking posters. One of them reads, "Smoking gets in your eyes," with cartoon eyes looking out at us. Below that one, "Please think of others when you smoke." The theme, your addiction will adversely affect others in your life. 5. Contesting the call. He notices a man sitting nearby crying. Then the man's wife exits from an office, looking quite haggard. Upon seeing him, she hits him with her purse. Then they embrace, as she starts crying too. The man turns to Dick, says, "He's a very hard man." Then Dick stands and hands the application form back to the receptionist and tells her that he has changed his mind about this and heads out of the place. But he is intercepted by the man running the clinic, Dr. Vinny Donati, who persuades him to follow him into his office. 6. Competency. In the doctor's office, Dr. Donati looks over Dick's application and notices that the line asking for the name of his daughter's school wasn't filled out. Dick says he doesn't see what that has to do with him quitting cigarettes. Dick is conscientious. He will only follow orders within reason. 7 and 8. Capacity for evil and crossing into darkness. The doctor asks him if he has any cigarettes on him now. Dick forfeits his cigarettes to Dr. Donati, and he lays them out on his desk and pounds them into dust. When Dr. Donati proceeds to explain the process and about the business, a mafia front, one would suspect, Dick wants out and tries to leave the office, but discovers the door is locked and he can't get out. Dr. Donati assures Dick that the program has a high success rate and leads him to a large two-way mirror at one wall of the office. Here, Dick watches a cat get tortured on an electrified, grated metal floor. The doctor warns him if he smokes again, the cat will be replaced with his wife or even his daughter. He goes on to inform the new client that he will be under constant surveillance. Act 2, Confrontation and Crisis. 9. Complications of the B-plot. Later that day at home, Dick recalls Dr. Donati's warning and daydreams of the worst possible situations happening to his family if he fails to kick the smoking habit. Dick snaps out of it. He is antsy and irritable, going through a period of nicotine withdrawal. He finally tells his wife that he has quit smoking. When asked why, he says he is doing it for her and their daughter. She thinks this is very sweet of him to do. 10. Chills and thrills. That night, Dick can't sleep, and it's not the thunder and lightning storm keeping him up. He creeps downstairs to his office to sneak a cigarette. There he notices the closet door open and hesitates. He sees a wet pair of rubber boots in the closet and tells whoever might be in there that he wasn't going to smoke the cigarette and that there is nothing to report back to Dr. Donati, then returns to bed. 11. Contrasting old and new. The next morning, Dick notices a suspicious jogger, one wearing dress shoes, watching him at home while he steps out for the morning newspaper. One of the doctor's henchmen, no doubt. He also discovers dirty footprints on his floor. Indeed, someone was in his home last night. He didn't imagine it. 12. Confrontation. Dick, with a gift in hand, visits his daughter at her school, St. Stephen's School for the Exceptional. Then he discovers he is being followed by Dr. Donati. This crosses the A and B plots. Dick confronts the doctor about one of his goons invading his home the night before. The doctor admits it might have been one of his guys. "I didn't smoke," Dick yells at him. A false victory. 13. Cogitating on past and future. At a party, Dick is offered a cigarette and says yes, then immediately changes his mind, considering what the worst consequences could be for him now. 14. Chasing the leads. Watching other people smoking at the party, he learns how difficult quitting can be in a social setting. 15. Casualty. A. At the party, he hallucinates Dr. Donati being there to torment him like the devil he is by puffing on a handful of cigarettes all at once and blowing the smoke in his face and enjoying himself very much. Dick is losing his mind. 15. Casualty. B. Stuck in midday traffic, Dick thinks he is in the clear from the prying eyes of the doctor's spies and ducks down behind the dash in his car to puff a cigarette. But one of the doctor's henchmen is in a convertible in the next lane and sees him. He is caught. He races home. 16. Crisis. He finds dinner burning on the stove and his wife gone. Then the phone rings. It's Dr. Donati. Dick swears to the doctor that it will never happen again. The doctor tells him to meet him at his office at 5 o'clock and hangs up. 17. Contemplation. Angry, Dick smashes the receiver over and over, then throws the phone down. Act 3. The need. 18. Castle attack. Dick is hauled into Dr. Donati's office by the thug who caught him smoking. He demands to know where his wife is, and Dr. Donati shows him. Cut 19. Catastrophe. To his dismay, he sees his wife on the other side of the two-way mirror in the electrified room where the cat was tortured. 20. Crunch time. He knocks the thug to the floor and grabs a wooden table stand and starts pounding on the glass to break his wife out. The thug pulls out a gun. Dick smacks that out of his hand. A fight ensues with the doctor, and Dick almost reaches the gun on the floor, but the thug gets to it. Dick is sat down in a chair in front of the two-way mirror, with the gun trained on him. He pleads with the doctor not to do this, and is told that his wife won't be hurt, not this time. 21. Climactic twist. He is forced to watch as Dr. Donati hits the switch and activates the electrified floor, and Mrs. Morrison starts hopping off each foot, dancing like a hen on a hot rock, in one of the most simultaneously horrifying and comical scenes ever conceived. This is the realization of Dick's worst fear. His failure to quit smoking is hurting his family. After Dr. Donati turns off the torture device, he says to the distraught husband, "I think you have some explaining to do, don't you?" Dick is reunited with his wife. Through a surveillance monitor that Dr. Donati is watching with the thug, we see him talk to her and watch how upset she gets with him. The doctor and the thug take a bet on whether she hugs him or slaps him. Then we watch her accept him in a tearful embrace. 22. Conquering evil. Sometime later, Dick is still working with Dr. Donati, now on a program to maintain his weight because those who quit smoking tend to gain too much weight soon afterward. Dick is doing well on this program too, but the doctor warns him if he fails, he will cut off his wife's pinky finger. Dick laughs. This resolves the A-plot. Dick's competency in the form of conscientiousness enabled him to follow all the doctor's orders after all. 23. Conclusion. Dick and his wife are having dinner with his friend, one who referred him to Quitters Inc., and his wife. They all toast to the success the men have had with the program. This resolves the B-plot. 24. Coda. But his friend's wife raises her glass reluctantly. Then Dick notices that her pinky finger on that hand is missing. Thanks for watching. If you dug this video, please smash the like button and hit subscribe, and don't forget to turn on notifications. Also, check out the book on which this channel is based, Screamplay, the last book on writing horror for the screen, by Adam Black. You'll find a link to it in the description below. Thanks again, and until next time, stay scared.